So for one of my classes, upon many other things for all my other classes, I have to write this script for a short story, 5 minute film. So it's gonna be a 5 minute short film, and we have to write a script for it. And right before I started working out, I felt like I was this so close. I was like this close to like figuring everything out and being able to tie everything together properly. And it was just like it was on the tip of my mind or whatever. And I just couldn't quite figure it out, and just felt like now was a good time to just step away from it and start working out. Ever since I got home from school, this evening, I've been working on it. Right now it's 10 p.m. as I'm like, recording this. And I'm just like, okay, I'm just gonna step away from it, take some time away from it. I wanna work out, do some physical activity and, just whatnot, just to get myself away from it, just to kind of let my mind rest and to focus on something else. And that's one thing about exercise. I feel like it's almost like some type of meditative practice. It really does clear my mind. It really does kind of make me only focus on what I'm doing at that moment. So when I first started this workout, so this is just me doing 10 push-ups, 10 squats, and then doing multiple sets. I did 15 sets, so that's about 150 on both of them. And I chose this because it was like, I just want to choose a workout with like the least amount of intensity, something I know I'm going to be able to do. When I started the workout, I was kind of still thinking just about just school stuff in general. I have a quiz coming up. I have all these other assignments I got to worry about, all these little homework things. And over time, just as I kept doing the reps, as I kept doing the exercises, I just kind of stopped thinking about it. It just cleared my mind. I was just like, why am I, hold on, let me do 10 more, let me do 10 more. I got to do 10 more, let me do 10 more. That's basically what was, going on in my head all the time. Or most of the time, as I kept going, kept focusing on my breathing and the way I was doing the exercise and how many sets I had did so far. It's just very interesting. It's just like just a way to completely clear your mind, to devote yourself to something physical, and especially without music for one. That's one thing. Without music, with music, you kind of tend to probably correlate other thoughts with music. So now it's like it's not as effective in terms of the, I guess, the meditative state that I'm trying to say when it comes to exercising. So just me exercising, and I do this every day. I don't really listen to music because I'm recording with my phone, and I have my iPad charging because like I work on it. And with that being said, I tend to always end up becoming just more and more focused in the workout as I keep doing them. So I could start off thinking about like, man, I gotta do this assignment, or I got work tomorrow, I got this to do. But then over time, it just becomes that little 15 minute, 45 minute, 30 minute, hour long slot in my time in the day of my time where I'm not worried about anything else. I'm not focused on anything else. I'm not thinking about anything else. The only thing I'm thinking about is me and the exercise that I'm doing, me and the sets that I have to do, me and the reps that I have to do, me and the performance that I have to do within each movement. So it's just like I'm clearing my mind, and then a lot of the times when I come back to an issue or a problem, I'm able to solve it with much more potency. I'm not continuously kind of like ramming myself into this wall that I was so zoomed in on and focused on that I didn't realize that there was like a door just 2 feet away from me so I could get through the wall. So it's just things like that, So I'm not sure. Again, I'm not sure if me, taking some time off from writing the script is by exercising and whatnot and doing other activities is gonna help. But I believe so because there are just other times throughout the day where I was like, what, I'm just going to do some stretching, or I'm going to just do some quick, like, like some just burpees, something just to get my heart pumping. Just do just some like random push-ups or whatever. Like just an example. This same day, as I was writing, I was like frustrated, like, oh man, I can't think of anything. What should I do? And then I just bust down, did 40 push-ups. Just bust down, did 40 push-ups, made sure I breathed properly, and all of a sudden I kind of had some ideas flowing. And then after that, it was like, I had trails. I've had thoughts trailing to other thoughts, things like that. So I was just typing it out, working it out, going back over stuff. And then now I've reached to a point to where I'm like, okay, I think everything is gonna come into alignment here. Maybe I'm not sure. I feel like I'm so close, and then boom, just stop. That's when you should stop yourself. Especially something when it comes to the creative process, right? Something where it needs a creative mind or a creative touch, or something where you have to think outside the box. I feel like those things correlate a lot with physical activity. An example would be philosophers. Uh, they would walk with deep thought, right? So they would walk across like roads, beaches, whatever, and they would basically isolate themselves with their own thoughts, with physical activity, right? That physical activity being walking, and they're going to kind of have certain revelations and stuff like that. So it's kind of similar to the concept of shower thoughts, right? So a lot of our ideas or deep thinking can be found within us doing physical activities, or just kind of like walking around. I realize that when I like walk around in circles, that I kind of think, oh, that's interesting. I didn't think about it like that. Stuff like that, right? Having the shower thoughts, and by exercising, by adding a time in your day where you're going to work out, where you're going to exercise, and you're just purely going to focus on what it is that you're doing, then you won't have the ability to worry about what's outside of that. And when you're not worrying about what's outside of it, you're not stressing yourself. You're relieving stress. You are just putting these other things to the side as if they don't matter for the time being, and then you'll come back to them refreshed, re-energized, especially since like working out gives you like just like a great amount of energy after doing it. And so you're going to be re-energized, you're going to come back to it, and you might be able to see things differently. You might be able to see things a different way. You might even look to the progress that you had before and just be like, okay, this doesn't make any sense. Why did I write this down? And you might be able to come up with just greater ideas and thoughts. And you don't even have to kind of take the benefit of mental clarity when it comes to exercise. You don't even have to take that into account. You can just take it into the fact that there's like a lot of distractions in this world. So if we can find one thing to focus on and something that will benefit us, aka exercise, then that is like a great thing to kind of almost just fully involve yourself in, because like our exercise, our fitness, our life, our health, that's a lifelong journey. That's something that we should be taking care of and worrying about and always trying to improve on a day-to-day basis for the rest of our lives. Because if we don't have our health, then how can we enjoy the things that we have, that we want to attain later in life? So with exercising, you might be able to have better opportunities, right? Like again, if you look fitter, people might compliment you more, might see you in a different way. If you exercise, you might be willing to take advantage of certain situations where they might require just more brute force, more energy, stuff like that. There's a lot of people, especially over the pandemic, I would say, where people became like depressed. They were isolated. They sat inside. They felt sorry for themselves. But it's like, and then they can still, they still might be in that mindset now in 2024. But what it is that they should be doing is trying to get into situations where they're relieving themselves of that stress through physical means. There's like, if there's one way to relieve stress and pain and suffering is through physical movement. Just think about all the people who have had tragic things happen to their lives and they're like amazing MMA fighters or they're Olympic champions or they're just like incredibly focused on like some type of physical endeavor, because it's like it takes a lot of pain and discipline to dedicate yourself to those things, and requiring more pain and discipline usually comes from having gone through a lot of suffering or a lot of like loss or just tragic events in your life. So that's why it's like, there's people who can become so successful with such, just physical endeavors because they came from a background that was so harsh and cruel to them. But that's just about, all I have to say. I love exercise. I'd say it's definitely helped. It's kind of like as if I'm recharged and I'm refreshed. It's like I've just breathed in like just a new set of air or whatever. See you guys in the next video. Have a good one.